So what a beautiful day for a bit of landscape photography today I'm doing on the Mamiya RZ67, and I brought out a couple of rolls of Kodak TMAX 100 to put in this camera, and I'm at a point on the somewhere on the Isle of Wight is where I am, and down there is a lighthouse called St Catherine's Lighthouse, and I've never been here before because I've never been able to find it. You guys know that I'm absolutely rubbish with with directions and sat navs and stuff. I've got a feeling I'm not going to get out of here for a while. Bloody hell. Oh, for fuck. So this video is going to be about landscape photography on black and white film, and later on we'll get in the darkroom and make a print and see how they come out. So all I've got with me is the camera, the film, and also a Sekor light meter as well. I've also brought some filters out with me just in case I need to put a bit of contrast out the skies. I don't think it's going to work that well. There's not much blue sky up there, but they look quite dramatic anyway. And there's an round the island boat race going on at the moment, which is an absolute bonus. That seems to have just come out for me. I didn't even know that was on today. The lenses I've got on the camera, I've got this 180mm lens, so a nice close zoom lens if you like, I can get into that lighthouse with. And this one's just a 90mm lens that I've got on here. So I'm just loading the film into the camera. And the thing with landscapes, I've got a friend said to me the other day that she just can't get into landscape photography. She just can't get into her f***ing dogs. A couple of yappy dogs up there is driving me out the wall to keep chasing me, like little rats. So a friend the other day saying to me about landscape photography, she said she just can't get her head into it. I said, why is that? She said, she can't see any creative opportunities in landscapes. And you know what, I get it, I can understand where she's coming from, but it's real easy, you know, when you start to think about your landscape photography, if you're in a nice place like I am today. Just trying to get this roll of film onto the camera, but it's quite easy landscape photography. Basically I've got a whole blank canvas up here. Everything I need is around me, and I've just got a blank canvas in my mind to work with, and it's up to me to, you know, bring things into the frame, things going off out the frame, things being midway, things being in the foreground, things being in the background. And I think one of the most important things about any landscape photography is keeping that horizon nice and straight. If that goes wonky, it just looks naff. But you can see the importance of looking at a wonky scene. You can see, I think the GoPro there, the horizons are nice and straight. If I was to run this video and have it like that, look how ugly it looks. Just by straightening it up, makes everything look a lot nicer if I can straighten it up. So paramount is my horizons. I just want to make sure that they're nice and straight, and then from there I can just work with my blank canvas and bring hills in and bring plants in and bring anything else in the background and just make it all come together. And also in my mind, I'm looking at a print in my mind as well. So as I'm looking through the ground glass at my scene, I'm thinking of, can this work later on back in the darkroom? Do I need to burn that sky in, or etc.? And then comes down to the metering as well. So then start doing the metering. Do I decide whether to push the film, pull the film, shoot it normally? Normally I shoot it as is. But there is things to think about, but not overly, you know. Just don't try and overthink stuff. Just try and make things look pretty inside the camera, and you know, try and make it look interesting. So I'll go over a couple of my compositions, why I'm doing it. I'll show you the results as well as I go along. I'm going to start off with the tripod low. So I'm going to be getting some low down shots of all these reeds and grass and stuff, and then I'll bring the tripod mid-range up a little bit higher and get some other compositions, and then I'll bring it up even higher still and see what we get from there. On goes the camera. Quite a big camera to bring out, the Mamiya RZ, but it's, I just enjoy using it. I enjoy shooting this camera. Okay, let's find some compositions. So I've got a really nice low composition set up. I've just got a little bit of this in the lower third. I can just see the little house down there, little tiny lighthouse as well, and the boats and some of the sky, which is kind of just above halfway on the frame. I'm going to keep the metering simple. I don't need to do any spot metering. It's not a tricky lit scene. It's light overcast. So I'm just going to do a little bit of metering. If I point up towards the sky, that's obviously going to give me a smaller aperture. If I point down towards the camera, it's going to give me a wider aperture. But I want to compensate for all that stuff down there. It reckons f11, okay, f16. I'm going to go f16 at 1/60th of a second. So f16, 1/60th of a second. Real simple stuff. The most important thing is my composition. I need to get that right. And obviously the exposure as well, but you know, these films are so forgiving. So I just need to wait for the right moment where those boats are not in the way of that lighthouse and take my shot. Done. And I'm in portrait mode. I'm not in landscape mode. I'm shooting this camera in portrait mode. I like portrait mode when I make my frames. I'm now going to change the lenses over and put that 180mm lens on so I can get a little bit closer to that lighthouse and see how this looks compared to the last shot that I did. Okay, horizon nice and straight, so I've got the sky around about the top third. Got the lighthouse in there. Focused on the lighthouse. Second shot coming up. Done. F11. So I've just set up my third composition using the 90mm lens. So you can see where this just comes down here, dips and goes off. My frame is kind of here. It's kind of here. I'm trying to show you through the viewfinder if I can show you. You might be able to see it. But that's a frame that I've got there. It's pretty tricky to see, guys, with this GoPro shoved down there. This time I'm going to go for the red filter, which is going to pull me down by 3 stops. So I don't want to use shutter speed, because if I use the shutter speed, I'm then going to be coming down to 160, 130, 150, 1/8 of a second. The boats are going to be a little bit blurry maybe, so I don't want that. I'm going to have to use the aperture. So I'm at f16, 1, 2, okay, f8, which is good, and I'll just come to 1/30th of a second. So that's my 3 stops with this red filter, and that should darken my skies and give me a more dramatic looking scene. Let's try it out. Oh, that's a nice shot there. Quite a few boats. I need to be quick, need to be quick, need to be quick. So I'll just put the filter over like so. I haven't got a filter holder with me today. But this should be fine. Hopefully my fingers are out of the shot. 1, 2, 3, go. Done. I'm going to go into landscape on this one and get that little tiny old house, barns, farm there in the shot. That one and the lighthouse, all these boats. So on this photograph, I've gone into spot meter mode. I've decided to do a bit of spot metering on the clouds. So what this is going to do in spot metering is give me a value for middle grey. The meter's going to say, okay, there's the value, whatever you spotted at in the scene, that's what middle grey is going to give you. It's up to me then to shift that tone up or down. So I pointed it at the sky, which is going to give me back a return feed for middle grey. Obviously I don't want the sky to be middle grey, I need it to be lighter than that. So I've just come opened up a couple of stops to make that sky brighter, then everything else should fall into place. It gave me f45, so if I come a couple of stops down from f45, brings me down to f22, so that's what I'm going to shoot at, f22, 1/60th of a second. So a stop darker than I was up there, but then the scene's got a little bit brighter. So I've got my camera up like so, and I'm looking down at the lighthouse, and when I look through the viewfinder, it doesn't look right to me. It just doesn't look right. I need to get some of the foreground in front of me, so I need to lower the tripod. It just didn't look right, you know. And these are the things that you have to look through the viewfinder, the ground glass or whatever, and imagine what your print's going to look like. I know that wouldn't have looked any good, so I'm not going to take the shot. But just by bringing the camera down a little bit, and this is in landscape mode, it might help me out. Ah, there you go. So now I've got a little bit of foreground in it, which is working better. Where do I want that lighthouse to be? Do I want it to be in the middle? Do I want it to be on the left of my frame, on the right of my frame? Where do I want the sky? So I'm going to position the sky first, just the top lower, or the upper third I should say. Now where do I want that lighthouse? So you can just see these boats are now starting to come in. I want them to fill around that lighthouse before I take my shot. There's quite a few boats over this side. So probably another 4 or 5 minutes and I'll have the whole area covered in boats. Here come the boats. I've decided to go to f11 at 1/30 of a second so I can use this red filter. There's a nice band of red blue sky up there which I think will look nice. Let's take the shot. Here we go. Done. Just for shits and giggles, let's go back to where I was, f22 160, take one without the red filter. I'll show you guys the difference. Done. Done. You know when you think sometimes you start something and you wish you hadn't have done? I started to walk down the cliffs and I've ended up in this woodland area, and you know, you guys know what I'm like for woods. I've just hopefully got to follow that path back. I've been walking for ages. I'm trying to get down to the lighthouse, but I can't see nothing. It's just so dense in this woodland area. I can hear the sea, it's over that way. But I thought I've only got, I don't know, 4 or 5 shots left. I thought I've come all the way here, I might as well walk down to the lighthouse and see if I can get a nice picture from there. So if I get out of these woods, I'll show you the lighthouse. It's proper mad. Look at this. I'm glad I've got my walking boots on. Oh man, this is nuts. What the hell? Stupid idea this. Really stupid idea. I'll have to give up on that. Man, this is like walking through a jungle or something. Oh, shitting horror. My bloody shorts are coming down now. I'm starting to come around my knees, look at them. I'm not even near the lighthouse, that's all I know. So I'm going to go back. Oh. So I've just come walking all the way back up. That's why I was right over there. All that thick dense forest there, look. Oh, I've made it. I've had to sit down and get my breath back. Little steps at a time. Such a steep incline. Look, it's in front of me. I'm going to get a picture of that right now. F8 1/30th of a second with a red filter. In fact, the incident reading come back the same. So I'll use the red filter. Dark slide out. Done. So this is the neg that I'm going to be working with. I love this shot where I've just got those boats over the grass there and just over the hill. Looks quite nice. I think I might have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery in the sky, but let's do some test strips and see how it comes out. So I put the negative in the enlarger, and I've got a carrier that's just showing me a slight rebate around the negative, so it's going to give me a nice little black border. Let's start off with a 2.5 grade filter for our test strips and see how they look. So the timer that I'm using is an f-stop timer that was kindly sent to me by the guys over at Filmomat. So this is what I'm using, f-stop printing instead of normal increments of 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm doing it in stops. In this case, I'm actually using 1/6 1/6 of stops. That's what I'm using, but it's a bit, I'm going to make another video on this at some point, guys, but this is what I'm using, this f-stop timer at the moment. And the idea of this timer is to start off with my base time, which is 10 seconds here, and do my test strips, and then it works out for me -3, -2, -1, 10 seconds, +1, +2, +3. This is in 1/6 of the stop. So I'll start off by doing my test strips like so. That's the first increment, which will be the whole test strip, and then I'll cover 1/7 of the test strip like so, 1/6, 1/5, 1/4, all the way until I've finished my test strip, get it developed, stopped, and then fixed. So this is the test strip that I've just done. So you can see that's my base time there, 10 seconds, and then the timer has worked out in stops in 1/6 of stops, -1, -2, -3, or +1, +2, and +3. I'm looking at the 10 seconds, which is my base time, but I'm looking at the C area in here. It might not come out as well on the video, but I'm looking at +1 or +1 at 1/6 of stops. Sounds confusing, but the timer does it all for me, and that comes out not 10 seconds, it comes out at 11.2 seconds. So I'm going to do a test at 11.2 seconds across the whole print, see how that looks. So that's 2.5 grade filter, 11.2 seconds, my test strip there, whole complete from the top to the bottom. The sea looks nice, the sky I can see straight away. I need some burning in on the sky and do some jiggery pokery. The foreground's nice, the sea's okay. I could do with just maybe burning the sea in as it graduates into the sky, but let's do a print and see how it looks. So I've had some fun and games with this print. You can see all this area here looks quite nice, just the sky that I needed to work on. So I started to work with the contrast 5 filter to start burning the sky in, and I've started to get some nicer results, and also to try and burn the horizon in a little bit more. So I've done all this planning. It's taken me about half hour or so to start writing all this down and getting my tests done. But let's try and make a print, first print, and see how it comes out. So I'm pretty happy with where I am on this print. In fact, it's coming out really nice. A little bit of jiggery pokery to be done in the dark room with a bit of burning that sky in, but I've managed to get where I want to be using some contrast filters. So I'm starting off with my base time +1, which is 11.2 seconds. So we'll just let that one, get my tools ready, let that one run now. 11.2 seconds. Off it goes, and then I need to just concentrate on the sky and a little bit of the sea. So I'm now going to burn in the sky a little tiny bit, like so. And for that I had to drop to 8.9 seconds. And now I'm going to put the contrast 5 filter in just to give that contrast a bit of boost up in the top part of the sky there. So contrast 5, I'm just going to gradient that in, 8.9 seconds. Just going to gradient that up as I move up slowly towards the top of the print. And then one more time, this time working on the top of the print and just rocking it back into the corners, as you can see, like so, just to make that pop a little bit. And there's one thing more I've got to do, and that is to use 2 pieces of card and cover the whole scene apart from the horizon, or the horizon where the sea is. I just want to darken that down a little bit. So we'll just do that now. And I'm doing this freehand and just counting in about 10 seconds using the contrast 5 filter still. And in it goes into the developer. I've already done some tests on this, so I know that it's going to come out looking nice. And I'll be putting, I'm making a few more of these guys, putting them on my Etsy page. If any of you like this print and you'd like to own one of the prints that I'm making in this darkroom session, they'll be on my Etsy page. I'll put the link in the description. And obviously your supporting by my prints helps me go towards the channel to making more videos and getting more stuff for you guys to see on the channel. And that's looking nice. I'll get this stopped and fixed and I'll show you how it looks. And that's the final print there that I made. So all this area was 11.2 seconds, and then I just started to burn in and work on the sky with a grade 5 filter, a little bit of 2.5 and then grade 5, burning in the sky. And then lastly just trying to get the horizon, just so there's a bit of separation between the sky and the sea. and you can see that's done there. These little tiny boats are so sharp as well, and this was using the red filter on the lens. You can see some of these little boats are blue sails, they've gone really dark, so I was quite happy with that as well. And of course I went there to take photographs of the lighthouse. I had to do a print of the lighthouse, even though the other print was probably my favourite. This was probably my second favourite photograph that I took. Nice straight horizon, as straight as I could get anyway, and the lighthouse there with the boats racing past. A little tiny bit of burning in at the top here, like I showed you on the other print, a little tiny bit in the sky, but didn't need as much on that one. So I had some good fun over there taking photographs of the lighthouse, somewhere I hadn't been before. Shame I couldn't get to the lighthouse, but maybe that's something I'll do in time, if I can find my way next time, without getting lost or exhausted. I was knackered. Anyway guys, the prints are going to be on my Etsy page. If you want to support the channel, buy one of those prints off me. I'll put the link in the description, and if any of you out there are wondering about landscape photography, just get out there and enjoy yourself, and just make sure your horizons are straight, unless you're making a wonky horizon for any creative reasons. Just try and get your horizon straight, and then you're halfway there. Make sure the light's falling in the right place. There's a bit of a bonus having those sailboats in the background. I weren't expecting that, so I think it just made my pictures a little bit more interesting. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Keep shooting. I'll catch you next time.